Is it just me, or does it feel like the older we get, the less time we seem to have? Like the time we do have just flies by in the blink of an eye? I don't even have kids yet, but I can imagine that time goes even faster when little ones are involved. And while we all get 24 hours in a day, it may not feel like time is evenly distributed. If you struggle with time management or feeling productive with the time you do have, I want to help. In this episode, I'm sharing 5 things you can do to give yourself more time back in the day. These hacks can help you feel like you have more time for yourself. So let me start by saying that as a type A Virgo, I am pretty good with my time. I thrive on structure and routine, and while that definitely comes in handy for being productive, I will admit that when things pop up outside of my planned structure and routine, I can get turned upside down. And I'm working on that because it's not a good look, and I just get myself more worked up than I need to. In episode 110, I actually share some things that help me stay organized as a type A personality. So I'll link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. But let's get into the 5 things you can do to give yourself more time back in the day. First thing, nightly prep. What can you do the night before the next day to make your life easier? So maybe it's picking out your gym clothes, picking out your work clothes or the clothes for the day, packing your bag in preparation for the day, packing your lunch, review your calendar or planner for the next day, and maybe shower or wash your hair. I am more of a morning person myself than a night person, so it's easy for me to do a lot of my planning like the morning of. However, I am trying to be better about ending my day with a game plan for the next day. I don't think I will ever go full force with nightly prep because it doesn't really work all the way with my personality. And that leads me into a question for you. What's your personality? Think about your personality. Are you a morning person or are you a night person? Can you do more of your planning, preparation, based on your time preference? I feel like if you are forcing yourself to work out in the morning when you're much better at night, that's a losing battle. You're almost like setting yourself up to fail or just to be disappointed. So consider your daily activities and what can be done in your time element to build the habit that you actually want. I think that's a really important part to keep in mind. If you're a morning person, a lot of your planning and preparation can happen in the morning. If you're a night person, a lot of your planning and preparation for the next day can happen at night. And I'm not saying you can't have a hybrid because, like I said, I am trying to think about things I can do the night before to prep my next day. But I am going to stay in my personality preference because it's just going to make keeping that habit and routine consistent. So even if you just start with one thing, what can you do the night before to make your life easier the next day? The next thing you can do to give yourself more time in the day is not going to come as a surprise. It is meal prep. This you probably knew would be on the list, but meal prepping is one of the best ways to save your future self some time. Not having to prepare meals or even think about what to eat is a huge time saver. Speaking from experience, once again, I can spend a lot of time thinking about what I should eat, what I want to eat, what my options are to eat, what I ate yesterday, and how that impacts today. And so what helps me is kind of having a structure around what I eat and maybe a couple options for each meal. But if I start expanding outside of that, I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about food that I don't really need to. I want to save myself that time. In episode 125, Motherhood and Money, Cyrenice, who is a mom of 2, shares some of her meal prepping strategies, and they're really good. So I'm going to link to that in the show notes. One of my goals for 2024 was to cook at least one high fiber meal per week and leverage that meal for leftovers. And I'm proud to say I've actually stuck with this goal, and I usually make myself enough leftovers for 2 to 3 more lunches and dinners. For me, I actually meal prep on Tuesdays. So it's always going to be on a Tuesday because I have made Tuesday my non-call, non-meeting day. I don't take meetings, I don't take client calls, I don't take personal calls. Tuesdays are kind of like my day to myself. And because I know I will never have an appointment or a call or a meeting on a Tuesday, I automatically know that Tuesday is my meal prep day. It's dedicated to helping me with everything that I need to get done that day, including meal prep. So knowing that I have Tuesdays to meal prep helps with my own expectations as well. I know what's coming, I know when it's coming, and I know I need to have everything ready to cook on Tuesdays. So I think having a designated meal prep day can be very, very helpful. And like I said, in episode 125, Cyrenice goes into even more detail with meal prepping and ways that it can help you save time. Another thing you can do to give yourself more time back in the day is reduce screen time. We as humans spend so much time on screens, whether that's computers, phones, or TV. And obviously, we can't help screen time for work or even just for leisure, but I think we can help some recreational screen time every now and then. I'm going to call myself out. I am very embarrassed about this, but I average about 3.5 hours per day on my phone. And maybe 30% of it is work related and another 10% is personal related. So like checking my bank accounts or listening to an audiobook or whatnot. But the rest is purely social media and not necessary. Like reducing my social media usage on a daily basis could easily save me 1 to 2 hours a day. So I think if there was one thing you take away from this episode that can like instantly give yourself more time back in the day, it's reducing screen time, specifically social media. I think we all can get caught scrolling and just, being consumed with what we see on social media. But if we're mindful and we reduce what we have going to that, like reduce our attention going to social media, we can all save ourselves a lot of time. So if you want to get more time back in the day, reduce the non-necessary screen time. So again, the social media scrolling, maybe watching mindless TV or online shopping, all of those things can take your time away from yourself. And I do want to say you don't have to go cold turkey, but maybe just start by monitoring your screen time and try to get better with how much time you spend on your phone week over week. That's actually what I'm doing. I'm giving myself grace and just trying to be better week over week. Another thing I recommend, and this is what I do, is leveraging Do Not Disturb. So it's purely psychological, but when I go on Do Not Disturb, I intentionally don't look at my phone. Like I went on Do Not Disturb for a reason, and so I need to get whatever I need to get done before checking my phone. So if you start leveraging Do Not Disturb when you have other things to do, I think it's going to automatically help you just not constantly look at your phone as well. The next thing you can do is establish a morning routine. Now, remember when I said to consider your personality? Well, interchange morning routine with night routine if you're a night person. But since I'm a morning person, my morning routine tackles a lot of my daily to-dos in the first few hours of the day. So I have a routine of journaling, reading, and listening to the Bible. So I'll read a spiritually focused book, and then I spend time listening to audio version of the Bible. I work out, and I get my walk in nature in. So I do all of those things in the first few hours of the day. And this kind of extends to dog walks right when I get home from my nature walk, along with feeding them. But again, my entire morning is filled with getting a lot of like my personal to-dos and goals and things that I want to just consistently do completely done. And I actually break down my morning routine in detail in episode 58, titled My Daily Morning Routine for Boosting Productivity. I'll link to it in the show notes if you want to hear a little bit more about what that looks like for me. But For the sake of giving yourself time back in the day, establishing a morning or night routine can help you get a lot of your tasks and to-dos done. So what things can you get done during your morning or night routine that will cross a lot of goals or items off of your to-do list? So if you have kids, like what can you get done in the extra early or extra late hours of the day so you feel like you're productive or you feel better during the day? Now, they say it takes an average of 66 days of doing something for it to actually become a habit. So do everything you need to make your routine, whether it's morning or night, a habit. So set reminders on your phone to get your routine done. Share with your partner what your plans and intentions are. Hold yourself accountable. Once it's a routine, it will become second nature. And I'm speaking from my own experience here. Also, give yourself grace, especially in the early days. If you've never established any type of routine, whether it was morning or night, if you're still trying to figure out like what will work best for you, your life, your situation, as you kind of figure those things out, it's going to be a little rocky. So give yourself some grace, manage your own expectations, and just know that it will get easier over time. So once you've made that routine, whatever it looks like for you, a habit, it's going to be easier for you to stick to. All right, the final way you can give yourself a little more time back in the day is this. Leverage a standing desk plus walking pad. So it's not one or the other, it's actually both. So I want you to have a standing desk and then I want you to have like a walking pad. So those are like the mini kind of treadmills where you can walk and work at the same time. This is ideal for someone who, maybe has a very strict full-time job and you're either too tired in the morning or too tired at night to go to the gym, and you don't have time in the middle of the day to get your steps in. This is a great way to get your physical activity done while you're working. I am fortunate enough to have the time I need throughout my day to actually hit my 10K steps goal, but I know that's not the case for everyone. And if you don't have the time to work out or get walking or just get outside or hit your steps goal, then I think investing in a standing desk with a walking pad is the perfect solution. You can literally walk or, power walk while you work. I actually have a client who purchased the combo and she loves it. She purchased it more so for like health related reasons, but it is now turned into something that allows her to get the activity she needs throughout the day while she's committed to her work. So definitely recommend this. This can be a great way for you to kind of kill two birds with one stone, meaning getting your work done, not leaving your work desk, but also hitting your health and physical activity goals. So if health and physical activity is very high on your priority list, then consider a standing desk with a walking pad combo. So there you have it. Each of the tips I shared today can help you add more time back in the day. Some will impact your situation more than others, and that's totally okay. Some may not be effective for you, and some may be things you never even thought about. But I think what's most important is now you have some ideas, some things that you can try to ensure that you're feeling productive and effective with the time that you do have. I want you to focus on doing more of what you love and spending more time on your goals. So hopefully these ideas can help with that. Remember, consistency is key, and give yourself some grace along the way.